With so many companies rushing to adopt AI, figuring out how to secure it has become one of the biggest challenges in cybersecurity. So today, we're going to dive into a technical profile of Harmonic Security to see exactly how their platform is taking on that problem.
We'll be looking at its core architecture, to really understand how it's put together. We'll also cover its key features to see what it can actually do, and its operational policies, which, as any practitioner knows, are absolutely critical when you're looking at a new security partner for your AI stack.
All right, let's jump in. The first big focus for Harmonic is what you'd call AI governance and visibility. This is all about giving a company a single, clear picture of how AI is being used across the entire organization, which, for a lot of folks, is a pretty massive and growing blind spot right now.
The platform really covers two main areas. On one hand, it keeps an eye on the kinds of generative AI tools that employees are using every day right in their web browsers. But it also goes a step further into what are called agentic workflows. Now, think of these as AI agents that are running tasks on their own, programmatically, like a code assistant working in a developer's environment. The platform is built to give you visibility and control over both of those worlds.
So to actually deliver that visibility, the platform has several core functions. It tracks which AI tools are being used and how often, and it can even spot which websites have AI features built into them. And here's a crucial piece. It detects when sensitive data, like customer info or private code, is being pasted into AI prompts. It also finds and keeps an inventory of what they call MCP clients and servers, which are basically the components that make up those agentic workflows we just talked about. And finally, it flags any AI applications that might be set up to train on your company's data, which is obviously a huge risk.
So, how does the platform actually pull all of this off? Well, it's built around two main components that work in tandem to cover those different use cases.
On one side, you have Harmonic Protect. This piece lives in the browser, and it's basically your frontline defense for any web-based AI, giving you control right down to the individual prompt. Then on the other side, there's the Harmonic MCP Gateway. This is designed for those more complex programmatic AI workflows, and it provides a central point for enforcing policies on tools like code assistants.
Now, what's really interesting is how it detects that sensitive data. The platform actually uses small language models to do the job. But the really critical part is where this happens. It happens right at the endpoint, at the very moment that data might be about to leave the company's control. This setup allows for real-time intervention, before a leak has even happened.
For those agentic workflows, they have this really clever feature they call AI coaching. Here's how it works. First, the system detects sensitive data. Second, it blocks that specific action. But here's where the coaching part comes in. Instead of just being a hard no, it gives specific feedback to the AI agent explaining why the action was blocked. This lets the agent actually try a different, compliant way to get its task done. So it's less about just stopping the AI and more about guiding it to a secure way forward.
Of course, when you have all this visibility and control, you need a really solid way to manage who can see what and who can do what. And that's exactly where their role-based permission system comes into the picture for the management portal.
Right out of the box, the platform has 4 predefined rules. You've got the admin, who pretty much has the keys to the kingdom with full access. Then there's the analyst, who's like your investigator. They can dig into alerts and see sensitive data, but they can't change any of the rules. The observer can see that an alert happened, but they can't actually view the sensitive content itself, which is great for oversight without risking privacy. And lastly, you have the reporter, who gets a high-level read-only view that's perfect for things like executive dashboards. And this permissions table really lays out the key differences pretty clearly. You'll notice the admin is the only one who can manage other users or change configurations, but the real dividing line here is access to sensitive alert data. Only admins and analysts get that. This makes sure that roles like the observer and reporter can keep an eye on activity without getting access to the underlying and potentially confidential information.
Now, for any security practitioner, the next question is always going to be about the platform's own security and data privacy. So let's talk about how Harmonic actually handles its customer data.
And this brings us to probably one of the most critical questions you can ask any AI-powered platform these days. Are they using my company's data to train their own models?
The company's stated policy on this is really explicit and simple. No. Customer data is not used for training its AI models. And for data privacy and security, that is a really crucial line in the sand. And to round out their data management policies, there are a few other key things to know. All customer data is kept separate in its own dedicated tenant. They offer data residency options, with the default being in the EU, but a US option available.
Data is kept for the length of the contract, plus an extra 30 days. And they also state that the platform is GDPR compliant.